So what we've got in front of us today is Alto Pablo. Welcome to the studio, to the session, to the recording. We're going to be taking a look at his first album. This is one of the first projects that I ever worked on. Ethan was lucky, not lucky, that's the wrong word. I was lucky enough to be asked. Ethan was kind enough to ask me to help along this project, and that kicked off about an 8-month-long process where we went through these 10 songs that you had been working on for a couple years at that point, just over a long period of time, and they were in a very interesting place when they got to me, and we had lots of work to do. We had lots of ideas, and this was a really special record that we got to both learn a lot. Do you have any comments before we get going? This first song is going to be a little interesting.
I was thinking earlier today, we were talking about doing this, and I was thinking about, like, would I recommend making a record like this to anyone? And the answer was, I recommend sticking with it, and I recommend making it with your friends. Because all the other details, probably no. But you got to have a first one, and you've got to, figure out how you do things. So there's no perfect way to do something, but there's plenty of wrong ways to do something, and we are just figuring those out.
Dude, I love that. That couldn't have been a better explanation of what we're about to get into here. Because to sort of show the viewers here what we're doing, we've got some sessions that we're going to attempt to pull up in front of us here. This is the same computer, the same DAW. I've got most of the same plugins that we used, but we're not going to try to sugarcoat this. We're going to leave the plugins that don't work. We're going to turn them off, and the goal is to really just kind of go through this and relive some memories and find out some interesting things we did, and maybe ask our past selves why in the world we did what we did in certain areas. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what the baby versions of our producer selves were up to back in the day. All that to say, this is the first song on the album. Yeah. We got this first track pulled up here, and this, might I dare say, was the most haunted track on the album.
Yeah, on the technical side, for sure. How many tracks are we working with? Like, it says 87.
I think we got up to, it says 87 here, but we got up to 96. If you count the buses and stuff, I mean, yeah, cool. We got over a little over 100 kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big cat right there.
We've got the drums, which we had Andrew Fowler playing all the kit, and we actually, something we'll sort of touch on throughout these sessions is our use of triggers on this album and how just insanely invasive the use was, because we either didn't use them at all and went very dry, or went live drummer turned into a hip hop drum machine style thing. How would you describe that?
Yeah, well, I mean, just like that. But yeah, it was perfect for what I was wanting to do, because the versions before I took them to you and Andrew was I had like fleshed out pretty much all the parts, including the drums, but it was, on a drum pad. So I knew like the sound that I wanted of the drums, and the sounds were, like, more EDM or like hip hop, just MIDI drum sounds. But I wanted Andrew's live performance. I wanted a real drummer performing it, so triggers were the perfect solution for that.
Yep. It was so much fun to figure that out with you, especially with the hi-hat triggers. I remember using that i5 mic on the hi-hat, and just... So I'm not going to attempt to hit the spacebar here. I'm going to do it once. Right. I'm going to show everybody what happens. Let's see how far we make it. Okay, so it's falling apart here. So as you can see, the sessions don't really... Well, not all of them. Some of them will work better than others. This session in particular isn't really worth breaking down to while it plays.
Yep.
So...
Sweating. What
do you want to visit on More Than You'll Ever Know? What comes to your head when you think of this song and when we were working on it?
Man, well, I want to look at the drums and Andrew's performance of getting that time signature switch up on the chorus, because it goes from like, it's kind of like a quick waltz kind of time signature all throughout the intro and the verses.
Yeah.
And then it goes to like a 7/8 kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Yeah.
We're gonna get a lot of that, unfortunately. Here, team,
Yep.
you're gonna have to roll with us. We're getting to take a look at such a beautiful album, but again, this was how to say this in an encouraging way for listeners who might be battling stuff like this in their early careers. You know, like, that's okay. You're gonna stress your sessions.
Yep.
You're not gonna know how to take care of things necessarily. Like neither of us did. There's so much that we could have done to this track to make it lighter that we had no idea what we were doing. And I'll do a video breakdown on how to make your sessions lighter, how to keep things going like that. But for this, like, it's just fun to sort of dive back in and honestly experience the same headaches that we had to go through to get this thing where it got to go.
You can't get around the fact that it will be frustrating at certain parts, and like, the thing you might need to learn is like being okay with being frustrated sometimes. Like, you know, you wanted to do it starting out, so have the patience with yourself to see it through.
That's incredibly wise word there. Yeah, this, whether it's relational or technical, there will be issues. You know, and there's no easy album.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. If this was easy, everyone would do it. It's special because it's really, really damn hard.
Yeah.
I look back on this record with nothing but fond memories.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. The drums sound great, by the way. That's just like isolating them. Yeah, it sounds. I'm saying that on your part. You got those puppies sounding good.
Thanks, bro. This is.
And
You trusted me with
Andrew's
your
just a
record.
machine. Like, that's.
Oh my word! I just had him in this weekend on George Azard's couple songs. We're gonna finish his record. Andrew's so fun to work with. I can't wait to do a video with him one day in here. Fowler crushed it. There's not much to say about what he was doing that wasn't just spot on. These drum recordings were a lot of fun, and they really pushed me as a young engineer, you as an engineer and as an artist. We really wanted to get the coolest possible product here, and that's what I would just tell everyone to do is, like, amongst the headache and all this stuff, don't forget that you're trying to do something cool. Don't make it overly complicated for the sake of it being overly complicated. Make it cool, you know, and that's what this record was all about, I feel like.
Yeah. Dude, something I just thought of was the uke. I think it's on uke. The breakdown before the outro.
That's right.
So part of this record was, we did retrack a lot of things, but some stuff was stuff I had recorded like in my old house, like on GarageBand. Yeah. What did we do to that? Can you pull up what plugins we got going on that guy?
Yeah, I think this one, the uke, was pretty heavily processed. And this is one of those situations where, you did give me the old GarageBand file with the original channel strip on it, and I think we just left it, you know? I don't know how much I did to this. Yeah. I don't think I really did much of anything other than sort of sending it to the general, but I mean, I can't remember any of this. But it worked, and I think what we liked was how gritty it was. I think really all we ended up doing, that I do remember this, is we definitely had some like panning automation going on. I can't see it here. Maybe it's printed down into it, but it got weird there for a little bit. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll play this little ukulele part.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And we're not going to be able to listen to that. But it's cool. So cool to hear that kind of thing back, because that's just such a thing. Do you remember recording that?
Oh God, no. That was probably done at like 3 or 4 in the morning, trying not to wake up my roommates, drinking a bunch of red wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like red
that
wine.
Might have even
honestly.
been recorded like with, yeah, that's some red wine right there. That might have even been recorded with my my old MacBooks, like the microphone built into my MacBook. I don't even know if that was done like on an actual microphone. Yeah. Cuz it kind of sounds like that. It's
Dude,
got,
I
like,
love
the weird
how
mid-range
you've
to
always
it.
been there's nothing wrong with it, and yet there's nothing right about it. That cool, grainy, like there's nothing technical about that recording of that ukulele, or anything you would be taught in school.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, it's a very like journey like song. The record's about a journey or like, you know, growing up. So, and like this idea of like naivete, like not knowing exactly what's going on in the world or what you're doing. And then, you know, so that's going to be imbued all throughout it, like innocence, mistakes, like it's supposed to be in there.
Yeah, I love that. That's everything, man. And it really is how this record comes across. Like I think that this is important to say about this album is that I freaking love it. I still listen to this album. I still maybe not every song and there's stuff where if you worked on it, you know, you work on your own music and you know it's hard to listen to sometimes, but there are moments of this that just bring back nothing but good memories of the learning process, but also getting it right and knowing that we were onto something cool and that we were putting the due diligence in, we were putting the effort in. We didn't always know how to get there like we would maybe today with a quicker process or whatever, but we got there.
Sure.
Took us about 8 or 9 months, but we got there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it took. See, that's funny because it's like that's the whole journey, like from where you joined on, but it was like maybe 2.5 years before that of like going into it. So it was like, yeah, it was a long journey for me for sure.
Dude, I completely believe you. And from what you had explained to me is that you had been working on this for about 4 something years before you handed it over. You didn't really even hand it over. It was a collaborative attempt the whole time.
Yeah. I think like 4 years, like from starting it till putting it out. So like 2 years before you and I started working on it.
Okay, that makes sense. Wow, and if that's funny to think about it like 2 years because it was. I think of it in like 8 months, but it was a larger 2-year picture where we worked on this thing and talked about it and planned it out. And sometimes albums, especially first albums, take that long. Yeah.
Yeah, and with
this is really
like,
cool.
You know, a solo project. Yeah, man. With this being a solo project, like we were working on your music also, and like Village Sticks and Ethan Stallings' group, and all the other people we were recording with you. So like, you know, like a big part of this was just like scheduling it. Like, how do I fit like this is my life is still going on. So how do I like make this happen while like still being a person? It's
absolutely.
Yeah,
that makes total sense. It seems like all that artists post on social media is their art, but there's a lot of life in between the posts. You know, you don't see the day-to-day with everyone, and that's okay. It's okay to live through your art. In fact, I think it's important.
Yeah, man.
Do you want to hear anything else on this on this track before we move on?
Let's listen to just that ending harp, the harp right at the end.
The harp. Let's find that harp.
Or
I'm looking in the wrong place.
We could even do like the harp and the synth. Yeah.
I want to get into the synth. That's the one thing I was going to tag on
right.
before we moved on was the synths, but I'll listen to this harp by itself first. Oh yeah. That's what we're going to get. But yeah, dude, I mean, come on.
Yep.
Tell me about the harp.
I mean, I don't remember tracking it. It could have been either one of us, honestly.
Was it MIDI?
Yeah, I'm sure we did it in MIDI, and then it was MIDI, and then we bounced it out.
That's how much I don't
that's
remember. I thought maybe your friend came and played harp at your house or something, but that's a little bit of a clean recording. So yeah, for us back then, that's pretty generous.
Yeah. I think that's something we learned too. It seems simple now, but like big thing of like, oh yeah, you have all these MIDI tracks. Like if you like it, like bounce it as a piece of audio. Don't keep it MIDI.
Guys, don't do this.
Yeah.
Look at the screen right now. Do not do this. We could be listening to this track
Don't
right
have
now
those running
had I
all
had
the
the
time.
four. No, and they make your track noisier too. It's not good to have this like this. You definitely need, and we're not. That's the reason we're not going to be able to even listen to these damn synths. That's just heavy. That is a very, very heavy bus right there of synths. The main synth I remember using was the Solina from this record. It's probably the yep, and we're not going to be able to do that, even though I definitely still have it. We won't get too much into the weeds here, but the Solina made several appearances across this record. So did the Jupiter. So did the Mellotron. It was a synthy time. It was fun planning out all the synths together.
It was the synth of times. It was the harp of times.
Let's see if we can't hear it at all. Yeah.
Oh, sick. Some arps and harps. Let's go.
That was, I feel like we went synth instead of a lot of vocal layers, whereas Alto Pablo could do vocal harmony stacks and all this stuff. We went synth heavy on this one.
Yeah.
Instead of doing a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, really cool.
Tight.
Hopefully, as we go through this album, and this will take up a couple videos, I hope that some of the mixes are a little lighter so we can listen to more of them. But this is more than you'll ever know. I think
this is the beefiest
first
one.
track on. Yeah, for sure. This one definitely hurts my computer the most. Yeah. But yeah, man. Anything else you want to check out here before we move along?
I think we got into it. I think we left enough a mystery for people to go back and listen for themselves.
All right, let's get into the second track on the album. This is arguably in my top 2 or 3 favorite on the album. It has to be. I love this song. Let's see how far we can get into it.
Yeah.
Traffic flows as a young man leaves from All-Star. Packed his bags and ready to let go. Home is far away, it's where his heart is. Darling's only talking through her phone. Need a way to be okay for a little while. Could you reply with your face? Be okay for a little while. I never know what to say. Packed all your emotion.
Stop it right there.
Yeah.
I love this song so much, dude. I can't help but be proud of it, honestly. Like for where we were in our careers when this thing came together, like this is such a freaking beautiful song. Ethan, you should be so proud of this.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think I am.
I love it, man. Where do you want to start? I want to start by saying I could definitely hear the lack of delays. I no longer have the delay plugin that I used on most of this record, so we're missing a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But it feels so... It's bringing me right back to the original Argyle house, man. It's where this thing started.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if visceral is the right word, but yeah, no, I like feel like I'm sitting in that room for sure. Dude, let's
I
hop
think
in
I
the
might...
bass bus.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's yes, because like look how much is going on in this dang thing. Right
Yeah.
here. Oh my word!
Dude,
what
I was
were we
saying the
up
last
to?
one had the most. I was saying More Than You'll Ever Know had the most, but I see at least 81. This one's surprisingly thick as well.
81 with all the synths making it. There wasn't a lot of synths, so I mean it's a little smaller. But I don't remember this one acting as heavy throughout the mix process. More Than You'll Ever Know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Was a pain in the butt like the whole time. Even though we knew how to, clear basic tracks and stuff, we were still operating with a lot of MIDI and a lot of processing. Let's check this out. So I know why we have a lot of bass here. These are your demo bass tracks, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had this sub bass that we apparently figured out how to bounce down into just a wave file because we've got the MIDI muted, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not still heavy. Yeah, we used this, by the way. This was a lot of the sub bass.
GPU.
We used a lot of this DX7 plugin from Arturia for the sub bass on this album. This was just a lot of pure sub frequencies, sort of was the vibe, because we had a lot of other frequency ranges to fill up with other instruments, especially other parallel parts. But this did a lot of good work for their sub frequencies. But then other than that, we had our bass DI and our bass amp mic. We paid a lot of attention to the bass.
Oceans into postcards.
I love the high end on it. Like the voice of the bass is yummy.
It's creamy.
It's stay and be okay for.
And I just love that nothing masks it. Throughout the whole song, you get the full texture of the bass, and it doesn't. There's so much space in the song allowing for it that you get it the whole song.
Mm-hmm. I see that's the only cuts we have on the bass are just for this chorus. I guess I went back and did that. It looks like everything else was just the one take.
Yep. I've seen you do plenty of one takes. Yeah, man. That's and I think we did this take. Like I said, these were your demo takes here. I kind of want to check it out. Let's see what you were doing back in the day.
They're cranked looking. Look at the gain difference is crazy. That's understanding gain staging.
Yeah, totally. Understanding gain staging and all of that, which I mean, I want to do. We should do one of these videos with the Stallings mixes. You've become just an incredible engineer in your own right, man. All of your mixes sound so good.
Appreciate it, dude.
You guys should go check out Ethan's mixes.
There's always more to learn, I tell you.
Well, we're never gonna stop pursuing this thing, but yeah. Where else does your brain go? That was the bass. There was nothing wrong with it at all.
Let's check out.
I love everything about this song.
It's pretty tight. Let's check out the guitar solo after that first chorus.
Yep. And we had these. That's right. We had these
great.
very hard delays. I'll play this again.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to help it ring out, fill that space.
Yep. That was such a cool little funky guitar solo, and it's got such a unique texture. This was from the original demo, right?
I think this is, yeah. And I think we even went and like I tried to redo it. And I was like, man, the original is great. Yeah. We were trying to get the best thing possible, so it was worth giving it a shot. But we also were like, I mean, there's something to this one, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly right. Yeah, sometimes using that demo track is completely acceptable. I want to check out your vocals on this song.
Oh yeah.
I want to check. Oop, where'd the mouse go? Let's check out your vocals.
So
a lot of vocal stacks, actually. And, here's something I want to take a minute to point out to maybe a new producer who wouldn't know what they're doing. And hear me say this while printing it onto an album. I did not know this at the time, but you really should, if you go through and you melodyne a bunch of stuff or you happen to process something where it makes it a stereo track, you should go through and you should make them mono. And then after you do that, this is just how Logic operates. If you're in your DAW, figure out how to make every single bit of processing on that channel strip mono. See how you could go through to each plugin and assign it to mono here? You can do that after you change the actual input to mono from stereo. Like I said, we didn't do that for this album, but you definitely should do that for things that you're mixing, especially like vocals or mono sources that get bounced out to a stereo. You can pull them back centered mono, no problem. There won't be any phase issues. Let's continue. Let's check out some vocals.
Be okay for a little while. Could you reply with your face? Be okay for a little while. I never know what to say.
I can hear that big square room that we recorded these in Nashville. These are pretty roomy vocals. They're pretty, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay, because in context, honestly, that's the texture we want. And we obviously didn't try to notch it out. We didn't hate it when we were recording it, and so it made the track. That's fine. Guys, when you solo things and they're not perfect, sometimes that's totally acceptable.
We could stay and be okay for a little while.
I mean, that's a sure SM7B in a way bigger room than we should have recorded those vocals in, but I'm glad we ended up doing that.
So the song kind of has like two phases to it there, because
okay,
and I wrote them separately. The second section I had kind of started writing as like just a different song idea, and then once I kind of finished coming up with that, I was like, oh man, that would go like perfect at the end of this other thing that I have.
Yeah.
And I know that we spent a good bit of time with like the drop for it. I'm curious to see what we did.
Yeah. So this, I will say, if there was a drop that we spent the most time on, it probably was this one. And I want to say maybe, what's the song I'm thinking of? Because I know it's coming to your head
Empty
too.
Passion?
It's the middle one. Empty Passion. Yes. Sorry. I couldn't remember the name. Yeah. Mostar and Empty Passion definitely have the transitions that we had to nail. I mean, these are two practically different songs here. I mean, so we go from this to this. Well, we're not. Yeah. Anyways, you guys get the idea. If you've listened to the song, which you have to do if you're watching this video, you have to go give this record a spin. You know that this is the moment of a very crazy beat switch. Right now, pause this video, listen to the record top down, and then you can hop back in with us. What elements do you want to talk about first with this beat switch here?
Dude, I know we got an 808 in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I know there's an 808 hidden in there.
So these are our drums, and so think about what we had to do. Just looking at them like this is hilarious.
Wow. That's a good bit of chopping.
Hey, Andrew,
chops.
Nice take on the first part of the song, bud. And then we get into this where so these were the 808 little like these guys. These are what you're talking about. Yeah, just like that.
Oh,
and we had no idea what we were doing. I don't
mix
even
the
want to
low.
show we do well. I want to blame that on
automation.
Yeah, I want to blame that on some automation, and then also this is pre-mastering all this kind of stuff, and I can hear him pretty. Yeah. Anyways, we're
No, I think I was seeing.
we're not going to get the best.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It sounds good. They sound good. We worked on them a lot, but we didn't know. Like if I had known what I know now about compression, we would have found this drop a lot faster. But that's okay. Sometimes you really just got to learn through those things. And look how much it took us editing these drums to get this last half of the song right. And it all was over this sub bass. We removed the lows out of the bass, I think, for the most part for this section. And it's really just assigned to this synth bass.
It's growling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna try this. Here we go.
If you're listening on your phone, you might not hear that. You might feel it.
Actually, you really probably won't because we didn't try to saturate the high end of that bass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Just wanted that
cool,
low end
man.
support.
That's all we needed, and that's what makes it growl underneath. We had those long extended low notes underneath your rhythmic bass playing. It really makes it cool.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anybody tell you that bass has to be one track. Sometimes it can be this many tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Break the rules, guys. There's no rules. Let's listen to these drums soloed for just a second. What in the world is the snare? Logic tells us when it's done listening. That's so cool. And it's like, I can't begin to tell you how we found this. Like, I know we just had to go chopping things up and we triggered the hi-hats. Like, we went in and we found some weird sounds, and sometimes we doubled or tripled down on some of these.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, again, we were I had like a full 808 drum kit on the original track, so we're really having fun recreating those sounds and having this whole amalgamation happen. Andrew killed it though. I know he'd probably see this and be upset we had to chop it up so much, but we were getting nitpicky on him. He did such a good job. He was such a pro throughout the whole process.
Oh yeah, and this part doesn't feel like a real drummer. So it's like we kind of did what we had to do to make it feel robotic. It's supposed to feel like someone tapping on a drum machine, and it's a dude playing a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
I think now he would understand this more than he probably would have back in the day.
Yeah.
But
he's
yeah,
been through
it doesn't mean anything
He's gone
about a
through the process
performance.
now.
Yeah. It's all about the process. Anything else you want to check out before we move on to maybe our third and final song of the video?
I think you played synth on this one, actually. What's that synth going down at the bottom?
Let's check it out. Synth.
Let's check it out. I think this might be
yes. Yeah, just a little saw kind of going through the outro there. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. I remember us finding this sound, and I think Baby Keem's album had just come out, and it really reminded me of some synth from that. And I was like, yeah, Michael's turning into Baby Keem's producer. Let's go.
Yes. Baby Keem, if you see this, hit me up.
Yep.
I love it. Got to be one of my favorite songs on the record. Should we move on to possibly the most challenging song on the album?
Let's do it. Yes, please.
Let's do it. Can I say that this is my least favorite song on the record?
You can say that.
I'm not going to be the best to open us on this next song. So how would you like to break this next song down for us off the bat?
It's kind of a mantra song. Just again with it being a journey of a song or being a journey of an album, both in like the theme of it and the actual process of making it. Actually getting closer to the end. This feels like something that was playing in the back of my mind all throughout the process.
These are demo
Yeah,
guitars.
it was not one
I
of the
remember
easier
those.
ones. I will say I think the bass is my favorite part of this one. But yeah, this one maybe had the most iterations when it was in the demo stage. There was a lot of different files for this one.
If there was one song on the whole record that I wish I had another stab at, it'd be this one. This
Maybe
song,
the 10-year anniversary.
yeah, so we are planning to remaster this record on the 10-year anniversary. He's making me wait 10 freaking years, people. I got all this new outboard gear, and he's going to make me wait 10 years to put it through it.
Just think of how much better it'll be 8 more years in the future.
And you're exactly right, because I already don't hate listening to this album. There's so much more going on this song than I initially remember, because in my head, this song was guitars, bass, drums, fuck, go. Like, that's it. Because I never got it right. I did not, as an I gotta tell y'all, like, this is the song that I did the least justice to. As an engineer, I feel like mixing the song, it was the biggest challenge to me. I felt like it was not clicking with the rest of the record. It was, and you're gonna have those. You're gonna have those songs. You know, and this is just the one that, for me, was the challenge of the record. What I would probably tell my past self is cut out half of these tracks, man. Like, we didn't need all these guitar layers, and I bet we could have gotten away with some cooler sound if we'd cut a lot of them.
Yeah. Again, naivete in the process doesn't mean you're going to get it right. But hey, it's how we're here now.
Yeah. And somehow still less tracks than the last two. Well, not really. Still about the same. We're still rocking around 100 tracks total, including buses. But yeah, anything you want to start with on this one? You talked about the bass. Let's take a look at the bass. The bass is a few tracks, and we get really funky towards the end. I think it's funny that I can totally hear the snare in there. Just Andrew's drum kit sitting behind them.
Oh, God. No, that was on purpose to add texture, I think.
Yeah, no, it was. That's exactly right. That's exactly what we did. We left the snare in there on purpose to add texture. Everyone. The only DI that we used was at the end, and it sounds like this. And it was just to support that last little bit, really, because when you take it out.
Yeah. I mean, there must have been some logic there.
No, I can hear it. I can hear it kind of kick in. So let's do this. It's a little fuller, and it's a little forward momentum.
We do something funky right there, though. If you see that that other track, Bass Cab 2, right above the DI, we have, so in my in my mind, the end of this song would just kind of turn into like a trance almost. So you have like the chord progression of like the guitars and the bass still jumping around, but right there, the bass just stays on like that 5 note. and it's like while the chords are also going, like the 5 is just like staying consistent, which some people would probably say is like a wrong thing to do. Right there. Okay, so that one is continuing.
It was reversed. We had it backwards in our heads.
Yeah.
I love it. It adds a rhythm element to the bass.
Yeah. And it's supporting those guitars too. The guitars are.
That's true. It's very hard to navigate these mixes with this, but. And that's the very end where they're all automated out. Yeah, we're going to encounter that. Keep your sessions clean, kids, and stay in school. Anyways.
Yeah.
I think that the vocals might be my favorite part of this track.
By day, take my shot, counting on my aim. I know I got so bad on my own. I'm not mad. Pay no mind to the words they say. Always in my zone. Hope my back don't strain.
That's that.
I'm not showing you anything new here. Yeah, I'm not showing you anything new here. Anybody. You've all seen Little Altar Boy. You've all seen what you can do when you pull the pitch and the form it an octave down. It gives you that cool textured sub voice or whatever, and that's exactly what we did here. I really did like how we did the vocals on this song. I don't think that's where I feel like the guitars were really where I missed the mark here of. And you know, I can keep being hard on myself. It's still a good song on a great album. But this is a lot of masking. And how I know that is we have way too many tracks for that to be as reserved as it is. You know, we could have EQ'd that better, but that's you live and you learn, and that's those kinds of things that if you're a new engineer and you're wondering how to make more impact, it doesn't always mean adding things.
Totally. I mean, like adding things is cool, and creating a chorus of instruments is cool. But yeah, if it's like not hitting the right way, maybe it's like it just needs to be stripped back, and it's the performance of it. And like, I mean, you can compare that to like EQ moves. Like, okay, you have like 5 EQs going on one track, like trying to like cut out little things. Like maybe you just need to be making like 2 cuts like that.
Yeah, y'all see this. This is a lot going on. Yeah, it's a good word.
Yep.
Everything should be intentional. If you're adding something just for the heck of it, you should really, consider asking yourself why.
Of course, I am devil's advocate. I love adding stuff for the heck of it, and then you can always like take something away. But yeah, definitely ask yourself like, do I need to be doing this? Is it really adding anything?
Yeah. I love how I think it's one of the reasons we work well together is that we actually are pretty different producers. You and me challenge each other in the ways that we need to be challenged.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen to your friend who's trying to stretch you, and listen to your friend who tells you when you're floating away from the earth. And sometimes you don't know which one you are, and you don't know which one the other one is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great to find like-minded people, like-minded interests in everything, but if you're like exactly the same, like you might not learn anything from each other. If you have the same exact background,
or you just make safe, boring music.
You're not like challenging yourself.
Anything else on this track that you want to check out before we sign off and make them wait till the next installment?
Let's go to the outro again and check out the rain bus. This was something kind of speaking to what we were just talking about. So the rain bus, throughout the album, there's a lot of like found sounds that I've like recorded on my phone and then threw in there. Yeah.
And in the next video, we will pick up right there with the interlude that bleeds right into that, because it's just seamless. That is probably the time where we spent the most transitioning between songs for the final product.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to speak on the fact I wanted it to be just like rain that I had recorded myself. Like it's not something anyone would ever notice or care, but like in my own, like, you know, having like a purist moment, like, oh yeah, it's like I really like had this moment of like sitting on my back porch and like recording the rain, whatever. And like I had like recorded, there's like some thunder going on in the actual recording, but you were like, we're not like really getting enough low end from that. Like you can't like feel like the thunder even when we EQ'd it crazy. So we did go in, and those two at the bottom, I think, are samples that we just like looked up rain, like probably most people would do. And we added those in just to get like the real like feel of like the thunder going on. And I had to be like, okay, you're totally right. Like it's not feeling the way I want it to feel. And I think it worked out.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the artistry of it. In fact, you know what? It has everything to do with the artistry of it. You're enhancing what you did. It's not cheating. It's not doing anything. We still used all of your rain tracks. That's support, you know, and you can't be so married to your own efforts that you miss out on something awesome. You just, you know, it's not a way to create.
Yeah, it's still about the music of it. Like, all the ideas going into it, like the world building or like the lore of it, that's all cool. But like, you know, it's 2 years later, and like, you know, we're like, how does it sound? That's going to be the first thing we care about.
Yeah, exactly. And I just to sort of one more behind the scenes thing before we go, this track bleeds over the next one in on the album. In mastering, the two files overlap and we blend them together. And in the next song, around right here, in this point, a ukulele starts and triggers the next track. Now, we made this song too long, and we made the next one too long at the beginning, to where we could start them in the mastering of the album, start and end exactly where we needed to make it seamless. So if you listen to this track into the next one on the album, it's perfectly seamless. And on our 10-year anniversary video in 8 years, we'll show you how we did it. And it cuts off a couple seconds from each song, but it's exactly the transition we wanted. And that's something you should totally be thinking about in your albums. You know, sequencing is as important in the mixing stage as it is in the mastering. You have to prep for that, but you can be prepared to trim some of your songs in mastering to make them work. You got anything else, Ethan?
Well said. No, I think we've gotten into it. Again, these are some beefy, beefy sessions. So I think we left something to mystery for people to go back and listen to themselves. I've had a blast doing this, though. This is really cool, being able to go back and
absolutely,
dig up some memories.
Ask us questions in the comments. You know, like if we missed something or you've heard this record and you love it, ask us how we did something. I'll go back and look. I probably won't be able to tell you from memory, but this is so much fun for us to do. This is the first time we've done this, so sorry if there's some hiccups, but yeah, I'm excited to go through the rest of the album with you in a couple more videos.
I think that matches the album perfectly. This is our first time doing it, so pardon us if there's some hiccups, but We had a blast doing it.
Yeah,
Man.
quite the theme. Well,
Sweet.
I love you, dude. This was a lot of fun. This is
Love you too,
mixing
man.
with
Yeah.
Alto Pablo and Argyle. See y'all next time.